a green and golden opportunity. Michael Vick, the former #1 overall pick, four-time Pro Bowl quarterback, will continue his first season as head football coach at Norfolk State University with the team's spring game kicking off this weekend. It's the largest HBCU in Virginia, not far from Vick's hometown. Now, he is among the latest NFL alumni to get their first start at an HBCU. He joins Deshaun Jackson, who was also hired this offseason at Delaware State, Eddie George, who was at Tennessee State for 4 seasons, and Deion Sanders, who was at Jackson State for 3. Former NFL players Chris Dishman and Terrell Buckley are also coaching in HBCU ranks. So if you And keep an eye on Tyreek Hill's post-NFL plans. The Dolphins star receiver tweeted, "Have my HBCU coaching gig ready," the day that Jackson was hired at Delaware State. Joining us now is the head coach of the Green and Gold himself, Michael Vick. Thank you so much for joining us today. Okay, so do you have any room on your coaching staff for Tyreek Hill?
I do. But I think Tyreek got a couple more years left. He got a lot of downs left, so he need to focus on what's going on in Miami and let me handle this over here. But he'll definitely have a chance to coach when he's ready.
Okay, so here's the thing. Like Cheetah, you had the Jets back in the day. So if we were to put you guys in a foot race when you were young, do you think that you would beat him?
Cheetah, I don't know. It would have been close. It's funny, I was just having a conversation with some of my players who have walked in the office, and, they're always talking about some of the plays that they've seen, and, they're always talking about Deshaun Jackson. Shout out to Deshaun. And they was talking about Cheetah as well. And I'm like, between them two, I don't know who's faster, but, those might be the two fastest dudes I've ever seen on the football field.
Okay, so you grew up in Newport News, just over 30 minutes from Norfolk State's campus. What is this full life circle moment and experience been for you so far?
It's been really cool to be home and be close to family, to, be accessible to so many people who poured into me growing up, and so many people who support Norfolk State now. And, to really meet so many alumni and people who was a part of the NSU, program, who still support it, who believe in it, and the optimism is there. But I would say just being able to be with my mom every day, being able to see her, being able to be with my sisters, being able to see my cousins, seeing everybody growing up. And I've been away for so long, ever since I left to go to college. I haven't been here consistently, and now I have a chance to be around my loved ones, and that means more to me than anything.
Yeah, I can imagine that's huge for you. All right, so we talked about him a little bit. Deshaun Jackson, he's a new head coach at Delaware State. You guys face off as MEAC opponents in November. Have you talked about becoming conference rivals at all?
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit, but it's almost like that conversation when we get on the phone we really don't want to have right now. Uh, it's really cool though to know that at some point we're gonna clash, and it's gonna be Norfolk State versus Delaware State. Promise to keep it clean. That's all we say. And in the meantime, we just want to be able to help each other in whatever way we can. We know what we're getting into. We know the opportunities that we have in front of us, and we're not going to take it lightly. We're not going to take it for granted, and we're going to pour everything into it. And so that's kind of been our mindset. How can we help each other, continue to excel, on and off the football field?
So what have those conversations been like? Obviously, you've been in it a little bit longer than him. What have you told him to expect?
Yeah, just the day-to-day process that you got to go through, for making sure that from the time you step into the building, everybody is prepared, and I'm talking about ill prepared. Everybody's excited, the energy's there, but even outside of that, it's so much responsibility as a head coach. So many things that you have to tackle that you don't pay attention to, that you can kind of get pulled in a lot of different directions, and you kind of got to police it. And I'm glad that I have people around me to help me deal with all the responsibilities. But like I tell the players, I got to be accountable. I got to be responsible. I got to do all the things that I got to do in my time to show them that I'm trying to be the best version of a head coach that I can be, and being the best leader that I can be. And I just want them to look at me, and I want them to try to duplicate all the things that I do in a different light.
I can't wait to see what both of you guys do at your respective teams. It's going to be huge. Let's talk about the draft because we're 1 week away from the NFL draft. Cam Ward, he's the expected top pick. You know exactly what comes with that honor. So what wisdom can you offer about handling that pressure?
Yeah, I think being the number one pick, when you first arrive into that city, you're gonna feel the energy. You instantly gonna know why you the first pick. You're gonna look at the roster and say, uh, we gotta improve, we gotta get better. You're gonna feel the responsibility and the onus of, having to be the face of the franchise and turn the program, the franchise around. And, I think Cam Ward, as you look at a guy like himself who, the road traveled, I think has put him in this position. And I think he's ready for it. I think he's ready. Uh, it's a lot of responsibility, but at the same time, when the maturity level matches, uh, that allows you to be that number one pick. And so since Cam is going to be the first pick overall to Tennessee, he got to understand that it's a lot of work that's going to have to be put in. And this is just the beginning. And he should be excited. All these guys, 1 through 32 in the first round should be excited. And just every guy that has an opportunity to be selected in this draft is life changing. I'm pretty sure it's something they dreamt of. And now when you get in that position, you take full advantage of it. And it's no days off. It's time for rest, but it's no days off, like I tell my team.
Yeah. Can't wait to see what he does at the next level. That's my quarterback, by the way. I am a Miami Hurricane. All right, so Shedeur
No
Sanders,
doubt.
he's the second quarterback expected off of the board. He says that he models his game after you. So what about his play reminds you of yourself?
Well, Shador does a lot of things that I wish I could have done, especially throwing the football. His accuracy, his touch, his ability to find the open man is uncanny. His confidence is there. His leadership is there. And Shador just has a way of going about it other than different than other people. Some of us have quiet confidence. Some of us have loud confidence. And regardless of what is confidence. And, you know, we've had some conversations in the last couple weeks, and obviously everybody, feels that they should be positioned and you know, might not like where they might be drafted, but at the end of the day, we find the positives in it. And if it's a little later, then you're gonna have a better supporting cast. And so, you know, that was my advice to Shador. If he goes to the Saints, then it should be some pieces around him. It should be some weapons around him. Wherever he goes, if he goes to Pittsburgh. But the one thing that can't happen, uh, don't, push the door in a situation where he's gonna be on edge and he's gonna have a chip on his shoulder, because that chip is gonna be a big chip
We know
and
how that goes.
great things are gonna happen.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. I want to talk a
Yeah.
little bit more about Shador. He calls you one of his mentors. You guys had a very special moment during Super Bowl week. I want people to take a listen really fast.
Listen. If this, you feel me, who I look up to, I want to watch and see what you do.
Okay, all right, cool. But this is my last game.
I'm just watching, taking notes.
This is my last game.
I'm going to need the jersey swap after the game.
All right, that's it.
All right, I got jersey
But I
swap.
want your first jersey after your first game this year. Sign, send to me. I want to frame it in my crib.
So you're taking the first jersey. You said that you guys have had a lot of conversations over the past few weeks. What have those conversations been like? What advice have you shared?
It's been about, appreciating the moment, living in the moment. This is happening in real time. And before you know it, he's going to be off in somebody's camp, and he's going to be stepping into a huddle with grown men who's going to be looking him in the eyes and, waiting to see what type of leader he's going to be, what type of confidence he's going to bring in. I'm telling him, just be yourself and, have fun with it, enjoy the process, and be a leader, man. Continue to grow as a leader of men. And he's not going to be the only rookie in the building. So, embrace the process, help these guys grow as football players, get together, you know, just trust the process, man, and everything is going to play out. And in regards to that jersey, I might not get the first one. Coach Prime going to get the first one.
That's what I was thinking.
But I want the jersey in week 2.
Okay.
She
You
do.
get
I
the
want the
second
one
one.
a week too.
All
I'll
right.
call him today and let him know that.
That makes sense.
Cam
That makes
Ward, I
sense.
need one too. I got to get one from Cam too.
I would like one as
Going
well,
up on the
by
wall
the
of
way,
fame.
Cam, if you're watching.
No doubt.
Good
No
luck,
doubt.
Coach Vick, this weekend in your spring game, and good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you so much.